Welcome back to AI in L&D Weekly. I'm Jim. So this week we're looking at one big theme, what all this AI noise actually means for learning and development inside real organizations. We're going to start with platforms and data, then jump to what the big surveys and models are telling us, and then land on agents, skills, and frontline learning. Loads to get through. Let's get into it. Story 1, Cornerstone Galaxy and the skills graph. So Cornerstone is rolling out this thing called Galaxy. It's basically a layer of AI agents sitting over a skills taxonomy that connects roles, skills, and content, including all your old SCORM. For L&D, what they're saying is, we'll take your LMS, which is probably full of stuff nobody looks at anymore, and actually make it useful. Which, I mean, if you've got years of legacy e-learning just sitting there, that's pretty appealing, to be honest. What it actually means, your old e-learning becomes searchable and reusable. Recommendations get based on skills gaps, not just people like you click this, and you can map your programs and academies to a proper skills model. So, yeah, if you're sitting on loads of content, Galaxy is Cornerstone's pitch to make it useful again without ripping everything up. Pretty interesting, worth a look. Story 2. EY's Work Reimagined surveys. So EY did this big global survey, and what it says is organizations are leaving a massive chunk of AI productivity on the table because people haven't been trained properly, they don't trust the tools, and they're only using them for basic stuff. For L&D, this is basically, you're now a core part of the AI strategy, which, I mean, a lot of us have been saying this for ages, but it's pretty good to have the numbers backing it up. The gap isn't tools. The gap is AI literacy at scale, role-specific AI practices, governance, norms, habits for working with AI day to day. That's all L&D work. Put this next to the Cornerstone story, and you've got the why and the where for your next year or so, I think. Story 3, Gemini 3, NanoBanana, and vibe coding. Right, let's talk models. So Google's Gemini 3, people are saying it can write long-form text that's basically indistinguishable from how a normal person writes at work. Then there's NanoBanana 2, I know the name, which compresses pages of content into clean visuals, and vibe coding, where you just describe what you want and Gemini builds it for you. For L&D, that's 3 things. 1, Gemini 3 can draft policies, facilitator guides, comms, stuff that doesn't sound robotic. 2, NanoBanana turns boring decks and manuals into diagrams and cheat sheets. 3, vibe coding means your team can build internal tools, coaching bots, practice sims, whatever, without needing developers. This isn't just about making content faster, it's actually a proper route to building your own learning tools in-house. Pretty exciting, to be honest. Give them a go. Story 4, Anti-Gravity, Google's Agent First IDE. So, Anti-Gravity is Google's environment for building AI agents that can plan, build, test, and document software. And it logs what they did and why. Why does L&D care? Because loads of learning now lives inside tools, simulations, checklists, workflows, practice, environments. Anti-gravity is basically a way to build those tools. You could have agents spinning up assessment engines, agents keeping your internal academy content up to date, agents building practice sandboxes where people can mess up safely. And because it logs everything, you've got audit trails, which is pretty useful for compliance and safety critical stuff. I haven't had a proper play with it yet, but it looks quite promising. Story 5, Workday Illuminate and Flex credits. Workday is rolling out AI agents across HR and finance, and they're wrapping them in these usage-based flex credits. You spend credits on agents that do actual work. So Where's L&D in this? Career and development agents are starting to drive personalized learning plans and internal mobility conversations. Performance and talent data is getting tied into recommended skills and learning interventions. L&D stops being the people who buy courses and becomes part of deciding where AI agents support performance. It also changes how you talk about budget. You're not just asking for learning spend, you're influencing where the business puts AI capacity for skills and behavior change. Pretty different conversation with finance, to be honest. Story 6, Microsoft Agent Factory. So, Microsoft's Agent Factory is a program for designing, training, and deploying agents inside Microsoft 365 with governance and enablement built in. For L&D, this is basically a way to build coaching agents that live in Teams and Outlook, teach people how to design their own task-specific co-pilots, stick micro-learning, nudges and guidance directly into documents, emails, and meetings. It pushes L&D into a different role, not just building courses about AI, but actually helping the organization build and look after a load of learning adjacent agents, which is where a lot of this is going, I think. But hey, what do I know? Story 7, AWS's AI training and certification push. AWS has launched an AI practitioner certification and a set of AI learning paths and badges. For L&D, this is basically ready-made infrastructure. You can use their curricula as the backbone of your internal AI literacy program. You get an external standard for AI-ready employee instead of making one up yourself. And you can build role-based academies that mix AWS content with your own case studies and tools. Amazon has basically given L&D a ready-made spine for AI skills for everyone. You just localize it and make it your own. Pretty useful starting point, to be honest. Dig into that. Story 8. Smart HR and BlueWorks global frontline learning signals. So, Smart HR in Japan just got a big growth investment to expand its HR platform, and BlueWorks in MENA raised money to build an operating system for blue-collar and frontline workers. Now, neither of these are classic learning vendors, but that's exactly why they matter. Both are building platforms where scheduling, pay, performance, and training all sit together. That's the future of frontline L&D, I think. Not a separate LMS floating around somewhere, but learning baked into the tools people already use to clock in, pick shifts, and get paid. And if you work in retail, logistics, hospitality, or manufacturing, this is the direction things are going. Pretty interesting to watch. Story 9, Imparter's iCoach AI. So, Imparter's iCoach AI just won gold for best use of AI in learning. It's a sales coach wired into CRM and call data tuned to Imparter's methodology. For L&D, I think this is what good looks like. I mean, it's not a generic chatbot. It's tightly connected to one organization's way of selling. It sits on real work, data, deals, calls, pipelines, and gives feedback in that context. It takes learning from we ran a workshop into ongoing coaching in the flow of work. The point here, the best AI for learning won't be generic Q&A. It'll be agents that know your way of doing things, your data, and your language, which is pretty important to get right, I think. Wrap up. So that's this week. Cornerstone wants to turn your content into a skills engine. EY is saying the real gap is capability, not tools. Google is giving you the models and the agent factory to build your own stuff. Workday, Microsoft, and AWS are all racing to own the enterprise AI and skills stack. And Smart HR, BlueWorks, and Imparter are showing what this actually looks like on the ground. If you're still thinking of AI as a faster way to make courses, you're behind, to be honest. The real game now is infrastructure, enablement, and behavior change. Good luck out there.